Hello and welcome back to Keys and Bricks, Real Advice for Real Estate. It's a podcast by Brilliant Homes, where we discuss the journey to home ownership bit by bit, episode by episode. Today's episode is very special, personal, and important. But before we dive in, Stella, we had our previous episode. What were your highlights of the show?
Okay, thank you, Lorraine. From our last episode, I loved the moment you told us that real estate is not for millionaires. At least anyone can dive in this business. Mm-hmm. You only need the right information, the right people, and right timing. Mm-hmm. I also loved when you told us that we should expect topics such as what to look, what to consider when signing a contract, who to expect on the show, and how the shows will be timed or the way they will be running.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like for being our first episode, first show? How was it?
It was tough because sometimes you don't know. You think you're prepared until you face the cameras. So it was a bit tough, but we appreciate.
So how did you overcome? Are you now a bit relaxed? Yeah. How do you feel?
At least I feel more encouraged because you get encouragement from the team, and then you also come to learn that they are just objects. You just need to overcome that fear.
True. So today's episode is about how to buy your first home without making costly mistakes. And I'll just ask Stella again. Have you ever been scammed?
Yes.
How was it?
It was tough and it was a bad experience. I remember when I was joining campus, that is back in some 4 years back. And then you see parents come with this analogy that when you go to school, when you live in the hostels, you're a bit safe. But your friends out there, they are telling you, no, you need to stay in those rentals for you at least to plan your own life your own way. And then you follow your friends instead of listening to your parents. Now I went to live in a rental. And then one of these days, okay, so one day a group of around 4-6 people came, and they were very genuine. They knocked and they opened the door for them. They requested for some water. I will never forget. I gave them, I served them some water. They were around 6, so they drank the water. Then after that, they told me that they were promoting, I don't know, phone covers, or I don't know what they were promoting. And then I told them no. Then they continued convincing me. If you buy this, you get a chance to win a lotion. You also get a chance to win a massage sheet. And then I told them no. I have all these things that you're saying. Then from there, I really don't know what happened, because I remember them going out, and I locked the door, and I was supposed to submit an assignment. So, and that was the last day. So I slept without doing the assignment. At around, let's say around 4, I wake up. I find myself in the house alone. I don't know what happened. I was supposed to print something. The deadline is 5. Then I rushed to the near by cyber. After printing, then he charged me 50 bob. Going to the M-Pesa, I found out that I had around 20 bob. Now I remember what happened, because I had around 2,500 some few minutes ago. What really happened? Now going back and checking, I see a name. Then I
insufficient funds.
Yes. Then I called the person. They were very rude and arrogant. And then now fear comes in. You don't know what will happen. When are you safe going to class? I remember myself, I used to go with a mask, then telling dad and mom that I've been robbed. They were like, even if you find someone selling, I'll quote, hata kama anauza, why, hata kama anapeana ticket ya kuingia mbinguni, never buy anything. There are supermarkets around, learn to go to the supermarket, but even don't invite people that you don't know in your house. And from that time, sipendi wageni sana. Like, if I don't know you, I will not encourage you anywhere near my house until I know who really these people are. Yeah.
At least that came with that. You paid costly, but
Yes.
at least you got the experience.
Yeah.
And I hope you'll not open for strangers.
I will never do that
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
So, viewers, I know many of us have been scammed in the most not so interesting way. So today we are joined by a guest. Our guest today has been scammed before when buying their first home. And through that, he didn't remain there. He rose again and he owns a home. So sometimes when you go through things like scamming, we come out better, we are informed, and we are also in a place to advise people. So, we know owning your first home or planning to own your first home is a huge milestone. But what happens when that dream now becomes a nightmare? What happens when the people you trusted end up scamming you? It's a painful experience. It's an experience that most first-time buyers face. And we are reminded that we are not alone in this. We can still bounce back and earn a home without making those costly mistakes. So today we are joined by a very special person who's gone through the journey of home ownership and having the experience of being scammed when he was buying his first home. So he's going to share with us his real life experience. This story is honest, emotional, and it's also a reminder that you are not alone and that you can rise up again. So, Brian, please tell our guests, introduce yourself and tell our guests what you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Brian Karimi. I am a retail consultant. I help businesses that want to get into the retail space in the Kenya and the East African region, and especially the supermarket, hypermarket space, and also wholesale, any businesses that want to come into the country and want to do a risk analysis. So I help them. That's what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Let's start from the beginning.
Yes.
What inspired you to start looking for your first home?
For my first home, I think it was based on I had lived in Nairobi all my life. Mm-hmm. Then when I finished college, I went to work in Mombasa. Mm-hmm. And in Mombasa, home ownership was a very big thing because land there was not very cheap. Mm-hmm. And neither were the properties that were being developed because they were more tourist oriented. Mm-hmm. It's next to the sea. Mm-hmm. So in 2010, when I came back to Nairobi, mm-hmm. I then had a family. So I had one kid by then. And we made the conscious decision when the second kid came with my wife that we needed to get a home. So we started in 2015 looking around the Nairobi and the suburbs. Mm-hmm. We used to live in Langata, mm-hmm. In a rental house where we had stayed since we came to Nairobi. Mm-hmm. And you realize that you can stay in a landlord's house for 10 years, yeah. But still at the end of the 10 years, with all the money that you've plowed into that house, the house is never yours.
Yes, true.
So that inspired us to start looking for homes. Mm-hmm. And we decided that building was too much work. Mm-hmm. So we basically wanted to do a property that was already developed. Mm-hmm. And we were also trying to avoid the pitfalls that befall many people in terms of buying land and then going to build. Then you find the land that you bought was not properly demarcated. Mm-hmm. It was not owned by the person who sold to you. It was not, it was grabbed land. So we said we are going to look for a home, and especially in a gated community from a security perspective. So we looked in the Nairobi and the suburbs. The property values around where we used to live by then, which was Langata, were a bit steep because for a property in estates like Ngei, you are finding that they are costing between 15 to 20 million, and which was way above our budget.
Yeah.
And the houses were old. Because these are houses that had been done in the late 80s, so meaning they are about 30, 40 years old. We decided to now look outward.
Okay.
So we started looking towards the Ngong area, the Kiserian area, the Rongai areas, Kitengela. We were also cognizant of the fact that we wanted an area where there were schools for the kids. We could get to work on time without having to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. So those were the main factors that were contributing to us looking.
Okay.
So every other weekend we were going around, and we were also taking the kids along so that they also get to experience the journey of looking for their home, because it was not just a home for me and my wife, it was a home for the whole family.
Yes.
So every Sunday, mostly after church and sometimes even skipping church, we were looking at the adverts which were out on the dailies and also online on platforms like Buy Rent Kenya, and also any adverts that were being run on the social media, and going to look at the properties.
Okay.
So we are looking at both plans which were under development and also some plans which are already developed,
Okay.
and also some which were individually owned.
Oh, okay. And then things didn't go as planned. Can you take us through?
It's a very painful experience, but I think if I share it, then it might also help someone else in future who might be going through the same journey, because I know there are a lot of people who are looking towards home ownership, but they don't know the do's and don'ts, the whole journey. And I hope the experience that I went through and nobody else has to go through it.
True.
We looked for about a period of about 2 years, looking at different things, also organizing our financials, because we were living in an apartment then, and we were trying to move into a home where it was a gated community, but then my wife was very persistent in terms of insisting that we live in our own compound. Preferably, we were looking at bungalows, because again, we were looking also at the future. Most people who buy into the mansionate sometimes have problems accessing during their golden years. They have problems accessing the stairs, and sometimes they have to do very expensive readjustments of their homes. So we wanted a bungalow. We were very clear on that. And we were looking for a home that was not too big, neither too small. So we were looking at 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, with DSQs, and at least an own compound, because she's very passionate about a kitchen garden, having flowers in the home.
You're having kids play. Freely.
A safe area also for the kids to have a playground. So basically those were our key indicators of what we were looking for. Yes.
Okay. So how did it happen? Because now you already have made that decision. You want to buy a home. You already know the kind of property you are looking for. Yeah, you have broken it down. You have the budget. So now take us through what happened after that. Because you see now, this is a plan that is coming into life.
Yes.
And now it's just identifying that property and buying it.
So finally, in 2017, just after the elections, we found a suitable property in Rongai, which is on the Nairobi suburbs. And in that sphere, we were able to talk to one of the real estate agents, and we really insisted, because again, you're fearing being scammed.
Yeah.
So we insisted that we need to have the deal with the owner of the property. And when we were finally able to meet the owner of the property because they were traveling, so when they came back into the country, we said now we can go ahead with it. We went and had a discussion. We agreed on the price point, which was within our budget. And it was just a matter of now doing the paperwork. And we thought we were doing quite well in terms of we've seen a property that we like. We've even looked at the schools around the property, seen they are suitable for the kids. It's convenient in terms of distance, of how to get to the property and go to work. It is in a safe environment. It was because it was in a gated community. And the owner of the property finally agreed that they are selling because they are retiring.
Okay.
Their kids were fully grown.
Yeah.
So we said we can go ahead with this. We met the owner of the property. They looked genuine. They said all the right things in terms of addressing our need. They looked at what we were looking for, and it fitted because it was their family home. So it had been developed to cover things like water.
Yeah.
The electricity mains were connected. The road access was good. It was not too far from the main road. There were hospitals nearby in case of emergencies. There were schools which were not less than half an hour away for the kids in terms of being picked by the school bus. It was in a secure environment in terms of because I was in retail and then I was employed.
Okay.
So sometimes we used to work late. So you want a place where you can get home and
you're
not
safe.
be at risk
Yes,
of
yes.
carjacking.
Yes.
Because we had experienced that before. So it ticked all the right boxes. Unknowingly, the agent actually took us to the property owner. So it looked from the onset, it looked very
genuine.
Very genuine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So we engaged a lawyer who was our family friend, and the lawyer went through the paperwork, said it looked like it was okay. Our lawyer actually knew the lawyer of the seller. So it was a very honest conversation in terms of, I know the lawyer, so we can have this conversation. And I think around that time, I had to travel for work, and I left the decision now to be, the paperwork to be done by the lawyers.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks later, the lawyer said, good to go. You can pay the deposit. Then you can, because we wanted to mortgage the property so that we pay off slowly without being too much of a burden to us as a family. So in that period, when I came back, we asked for the details of the bank of the owner of the property, and we were able to pay
a deposit
of
yes.
what was required,
okay.
of the amount that we had agreed on.
Okay.
After we had paid the deposit, then we took the paperwork that our lawyer had, which they had signed with the lawyer of the seller, to our bank. Our bank was very critical in this space because that is actually where we picked that there was a problem with the property.
Okay.
Because it was charged.
It was,
meaning there was another loan that had been picked from the same institution for the same house. So they told us, you need to go and do a background check again and revert back to us with the right paperwork because there seems to be a problem.
a problem.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
How did you feel? How did you feel at that time?
I didn't pick any red flags. I was just sure that since I had met the owner of the house, I was not dealing with a property agent. I was not dealing with a developer. I was dealing with the owner of the house who was living in that house. So it was basically the property owner living in that house. So I didn't panic at first. But there was just a gut feeling in your stomach where you feel this is a red flag. I will assume that everything is okay because I'd done all the right things according to me. I'd engaged a lawyer. I'd gone and seen the property physically. It's not that I'm being scammed a house which is not there. Actually, the owner lived in that house up to the point where we were going to pay the deposit. They had an office which we had gone to. It was a person who looked very genuine, because it was a lady, again, from a perspective of the Kenyan. We are very trusting when it is lady.
Yes.
As opposed to men, we assume that all the con people are men. So no red flags were raised at that particular point. I thought this is something that can be sorted. Yes.
Wow. So I can just imagine, now we are here. You have a lawyer. You've come in, you've paid a deposit. Maybe tell us, how much was this project and how much deposit had you paid?
The property was worth about 10 million. So we had agreed with the owner that we needed to pay at least a 20% deposit.
Yes.
So that then we can process because the banks usually give 70 to 80%
yes.
Financing for mortgages in Kenya, except now when they are giving a bit more. But that time they were giving about 80%. So we needed to pay our bit. So we said we are not just going to pay the 10% deposit, which is required usually by law. Since we've already talked to the owner of the property, we pay the full percentage that was required of us, so that at the bank level, they can also fast track the process with financing the 80%. Yes.
Wow. So Stella, here you are. You found your ideal home. You have engaged an advocate. The paperwork is done. And now you have even paid a deposit. Then when you approach your bank raises a concern. What would you do?
I think from that point, I don't think I can continue paying. I don't know even what I'm supposed to say.
But you see, you wouldn't even think about it much, because you are dealing with the owner of the property. It's not an agent. It's the owner of the property. So as much as you'll sense something, you'll maybe you'll say, let me just...
For Stella's sake, I'll tell you, when you're dealing with the owner of the property, you're at ease, because you're dealing with the owner who lives in that family home.
Yes.
When you're dealing with your lawyer, who knows the lawyer of the seller, you're thinking it cannot get better than this. But unfortunately, sometimes life throws you curveballs.
Yeah.
And these curveballs, sometimes you don't see them coming.
Yes.
Because in this particular case, everything seemed to
work,
be in the right direction, seemed to be going okay. Until the payment was done. And it was not done in cash. It is not that I went and picked cash from my bank and took the money in cash. We paid from one bank to the bank with a sales agreement, with signed by lawyers, advocates of the seller and our advocate, who in this case was not just an advocate we engaged for the transaction, but an advocate who we knew as a family friend. So you can never predict some of these things. When you go and do the search, which is usually done from a due diligence perspective, it figured out, because at the lands ministry, they don't have they don't know whether the property has a loan
or not. Yeah.
Unless the documentation has been done at the Ministry of Lands. So in this case, we had done our due diligence and we thought everything figured out until we were told by our bank that this property is already charged. And that was the lucky bit, because in case we had all the cash for the property, we might have actually paid it in full, expecting transfer immediately. So there was a bit of luck, but also this was also a misfortune, because the luck was that the other person had also charged the property to the same bank.
Yes.
Meaning they had done the payment before us and been given the documentation and taken the documentation to the bank. So in this case, if they had gone to another bank, before we realized our bank might probably have even paid there, but also banks do their due diligence. So that's where we discovered that anomaly. Yes.
So looking back, were there any red flags that you might have missed, or would you have done it differently?
I think we did everything according to the best of our discretion. We did the due diligence. We engaged the lawyers. The property developer took us to the seller, the owner of the property. So in this case, you find sometimes you're doing all the right things, but you still find you're engaging with a person who is rogue.
Yes.
And you cannot change rogue people. You can only change your perspective on your end, because we did everything that was supposed to be done. And remember, this is not something I've done before, but you've gone and asked people, talked to people, asked them about how it's done, and you've engaged the help of an advocate who, when you are engaging them, you actually pay for the service upfront. So in this case, there is nothing that I could say I did not do correctly.
Yes.
Maybe we were in a haste in terms of paying the deposit, but it is because we also wanted to finish the process as quickly as possible so that it does not drag on forever. That probably we should have waited for we submit the documentation, but then you cannot be given the documentation by most sellers before you submit the deposit. Yes.
That's a very tricky bit, because now, suppose, like you had mentioned before, if you had 100% of that money, you would have paid it.
Yes.
But then, upfront. But now you see the tricky bit comes in. When I engage an advocate, I expect an advocate I'm paying to be able to tell me, to do their own due diligence and be able to tell me that this project has this issue. Do you think in this case your advocate failed you?
I don't think they failed me. What I think happened is that most of the rogue property sellers, they will engage different lawyers for different transactions.
Okay.
So I doubt our lawyer, when he was engaging with the lawyer of the property seller, that was the same advocate of the seller that had been used for the previous transactions. So she was unaware, as was our lawyer.
Okay.
And as I said, sometimes when you go and do the search of the property at the lands ministry or the county offices, depending on where you're buying the land, in this case, this is Rongai is in Kajiado County. We were living in Nairobi. But we said the national lands management in terms of records is held at the Ministry of Lands. So usually that's the first point of reference. You either go to the county land offices or you go to the national land offices. So when you do both and they still figure out, they may not even be aware when you're doing that search record. It will show the property is there. It is not grabbed land. It is property which is owned by this person as per the last transfer. But if the other transaction with the other person who has already paid in full is ongoing, it has not reflected at the ministry.
Yes.
So your lawyer may do all the right things, and I do not want to throw blame at anyone, except the seller in this case, because they are the ones who knew what they were doing.
True.
So the getting scammed, you might do all the right things and still get scammed.
True.
And then, what do you think, or why do you think the seller might do the double sale, the double deal? Why? Or what is the reason behind that?
What happens is the law in Kenya is very lenient on people who scam others. If you go back in history, you'll see from the time of our independence, people have been buying land, and land is a very big factor in the Kenyan ecosystem. Everybody wants to own a piece. That's why you see even you, Stella, who has been scammed by people in your own home. will still go on the home ownership journey because you do not want to live in a rental property forever. We had before companies like Boy Committee, like the people buying land in the Rift Valley, and they were buying in terms of what we used to call cooperative societies, which are SACCOs. They would go identify a property. The properties were being sold by the colonial people, the colonial tenants who are leaving the country. And these people who bought in societies, you are finding that they buy the land, they contributed their money, they pulled together, maybe 100 people or even 200. They buy the land. But when it came to the transfer of each individual property to a person, then the managers of those SACCO societies will scam the members. And in this case, not many people are held accountable by the courts. So I will say the biggest, the weakest link in the property ownership journey in the Kenyan ecosystem is probably the courts, because they do not hold these people accountable. Because if they did, then others may be discouraged from doing the same. So the property owners know very well, even if I sell this property to you, Stella, and to you, Lorraine, and you, both of you bring me money and it is in my bank, I can then use the court system to circumvent justice and stay with your money for as long as I can until the wheels of justice turn. In any other country in the world, you will know that if we have such a case, then you will find a lawsuit is brought forward. You will pay for the costs. You will also pay for the interest. But in the Kenyan system, no, even when held accountable, they will only be told to refund your money. It will be after 5-6 years. They have traded with your money. You have given up on your home ownership journey. You've probably decided to revert back to your village to own a home there, because again, even when it is the transfer being done, as I said, sometimes you find there are also scams in between. You find one property is being claimed by 2 people. And these stories are there up to date. In the year 2025, we earned our independence in 1963. But those stories are there to date.
To date,
yes.
Yeah. So were you able to recover the 20% that you had deposited?
Luckily, my wife and I made a decision and we said we are going to pursue it. Sometimes people give up on it.
Yes.
But we said we are going to pursue it. So again, we had to engage a lawyer. We had to file court proceedings against the seller. We went on that journey, which lasted about 7 years.
Wow.
And after that 7 years, we were not even able to recover fully because the court said when the person saw that we are getting to the end of the journey and they might lose their lawsuit, what they said is they are ready to refund the money. But you see, in that time, that money has lost value.
Yes.
So we said it's okay. And then even when they say they are going to refund, they say they are not going to refund you in full. They are going to refund you in bits and pieces.
Wow.
So it is not a recovery of your money as you paid. It is a recovery of your money. And I'll say I'm one of the lucky. I'll also encourage anyone who is looking to go through the same journey. Kindly pursue as long as you can, if you can afford it, because again, lawsuits in Kenya are hard to pursue.
Yes.
There are appearances in court, there is attendance, you might be a busy person, you might see that you've lost money already, you don't want to lose any more, you need to pay another lawyer to bring forward who will represent you in your case. You might also need to pay court costs, which are also not cheap.
Yes.
So it is a whole, but if you decide to pursue it, I believe with the right judges and the right lawyer, then you will be able to recover some of your money, if not all of it.
If not all of it,
yes.
Yeah. I think one of the things that people shy away from is just speaking out. You know, for you to accept and speak out about an experience like this, it's not easy. We've had people even committing suicide because they have been scammed off. And you know, when you're buying property is not just 1 shilling or 2 shillings that you're throwing away. It's something that you have actually planned for maybe even 5 years, and you've put in your resources, or you're going to take a mortgage that you're going to be paying. But even without mortgage, there's a down payment that you have to pay. So many people who have experienced this, and I'm sure even from our viewers, some of them have gone through this, but they have never talk to anyone about it.
Some
they have
are depressed from their experiences.
Yes.
Some have committed suicide because they bought properties in the wrong areas. They came and were bulldozed down. And it's this is it has a lifelong effect on you. Anytime you're seeing property for sale online being advertised, or even somewhere on a plot, you become very averse to that. You will not even bother calling that number because you think this is another scheme. Yes.
So what impact did this scam have for you, not just financially but also emotionally?
I'll say I had a good support system because again, my wife and I were both involved in the process. Because if I had been involved in the process alone, then later on lose the money, then I cannot be able to go and tell her that I lost the money.
Yes.
It would have been a very haunting experience.
Yes.
Because I would probably get depressed on my own without sharing with anybody. But I had the discussion with people, and they advised me how to go about it. I had friends who were conned even much more money than me. So you, first of all, realize this did not happen to you alone. It is not your own experience. This is an experience that a lot of people have gone through.
Yes.
And through these experiences and talking to people, just like I am talking now, so that people do not get scammed. And I wish for every homeowner who is looking to own a home, who's looking to buy property, who's looking to live in the peace of mind of knowing that you won't be thrown out of your own house at the end of the month. And especially for the younger people like Stella, if you can start the journey earlier, the better, because nowadays you have advisors in terms of property ownership, and also home ownership companies who advise you and also give you options. There are many more options now than there were before.
Yes. So after all this experience, it was an awful experience, and we are sorry about that you had to go through this. But after all this, how did you begin and build again? How did you now go back and start again to find your first home? Because that one didn't go as planned.
It was haunting, I'll tell you. It took us like 5 years to recover, first of all, to even think again. We didn't even, I think I get post-traumatic disorders anytime I visit Rongai. And I see the area, and it's traumatic. It's trauma because you remember you had a bad experience there. But as I said, after that we moved from Langata, we went down to Syokimau, so that we also start looking at the area in terms of owning a home again. We were now open to anything. We were thinking about the land, which is probably sold and transfer of the title deed immediately, and then we build. And then we also were looking at homes which were already fully built up, so that we consider, because it did not kill our dreams. We did not let it kill our dream of owning a home. So when we went to Syokimau, we lived there for about 4 years. And in the 4th year, back in 2020, especially during the COVID period, when everybody was at home. Fortunately for me and my wife, we were both in essential services, so we were both working. Some people lost their jobs, so it even became a more urgent need. And we saw now how people were even moving into incomplete homes. Some who had started their journey of owning a home had started building. They've lost their source of income. We decided it was about time, before the property prices went over the roof. We decided then it was about time. Luckily, there was a project that was coming up, which had been completed but had not been handed over. Because now we were very wary of the buying from individuals. Then we decided we'd rather buy a fully developed, ready to occupy kind of setup. and then we can do our own interior finishes. So that is what we went for.
Okay.
And luckily 2 years ago we were able to move into our home.
Okay.
And since then I can say it's been a good experience. I would encourage anyone who's looking to buy a home to not get discouraged even if they lost, because I know a lot of people who have lost homes and lost properties through these scams. Yes.
So just keeping this in mind, what advice would you give someone listening right now who is just starting out and wants to avoid what happened to you?
I would say they should do the things that they think. Any gut feeling that you have, go with it. Do not be afraid. Do not be hurried. Do not be coerced. Do not be pressured into paying quickly. Do not be... And if you can, use the right channels. Get a property agent who's selling, a reputable one, because sometimes even the reputable ones have scammed people.
Yes.
So I would say get a reputable estate agent who's selling. Go through the due diligence. Do not pay anything unless you feel that everything has been covered.
Yes.
Whether it is land, whether it is a fully built up house, whether it is an apartment, whether it is even whatever the government is selling currently in terms of affordable houses. Do not feel pressured into paying upfront when you are uncomfortable or your gut feeling tells you otherwise. Yes.
That's very important, because I can relate that to now us, Brilliant Homes, who are the sponsors of Keys and Bricks. We sell property. So now we have but before even we onboard any property or any developer, we are an agency. Before we onboard, we do our own due diligence and we find out how many projects has this developer done.
Yes.
And even if they were off plan, has there been any any story, negative stories or so forth? Because we also, you see, a bad name coming to a company,
Yes.
It's a reputation that it will take you a lot of time and money to get over that or to get out of that.
Yes.
So we have good projects,
Yes.
and I would just want you to maybe just give some advice to our viewers. We have apartments and we have townhouses.
Yes.
We have ISRA, and I'll let Stella take us through this, and just maybe you can tell us, if you were to buy ISRA, how would you do it?
Okay.
Yeah, and would you buy it for you to live in, or would you buy it as an investment?
Maybe Stella can tell us about
So we have our ISRA residency located in Parklands along Githuri Road, 6th Avenue. It has 2 bedroom, 3B, and 4 bedroom,
Yes.
plus a DSQ.
Okay.
And the houses are they are spacious.
Yes.
They're also good. They are located strategically, especially for someone who wants to invest. And we would wish to know if you are the one now, especially you want to take the 2 bedroom,
Maybe the
unit.
2 bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah. What would you do different if you are buying this for even your own stay or as an investment project for you?
Yes.
What would you do different when you're buying this?
I think what I would do different would be, for such transactions, I believe in the financial system in Kenya, we have what you call escrow accounts. Escrow accounts where you pay into that account, and when the handover is done is when the money is paid to the developer. So that none of you has access to the money until both of you are satisfied enough that each has finished their end of the bargain. The property is because even if it is off plan, when it is handed over for occupation, then the money can be handed over to the developer. But each of you knows that the other cannot withdraw from that deal.
Yes.
I would still insist that you go with a lawyer, because an advocate will help you avoid the pitfalls. And even when you get into those pitfalls, then to follow up for your justice for your money, I will still insist you go with a lawyer. I will insist that you do background checks, as I said, on the developers. I was dealing with the owner of the property in my case. So in this case, as long as you are dealing with an honest developer, an honest seller, then you have no worries at all. Yes.
Okay. Because now, another thing, do you think that also the different counties, like Isra is in Nairobi County.
Yes.
We have another amazing, I'm in love with this project.
Yes.
We have a few complete units, and phase 3 of this project is just starting. That is Serene Apartment. Yes. Serene Park is located 500 meters from Mombasa Road, from the junction of Machakos.
Yes.
Very beautiful townhouses, beautiful.
Yes.
And like you now, you told us that one thing you are looking for was an own compound.
Yes.
So now for this kind of property, it's an own compound.
Yes.
It's a gated community.
Yes.
Again, if you were to buy that for your family, what would you do different?
I think being that this is Machakos County, I would advise anyone who's going to buy such a property in that county to again go to the land offices of that county, do your due diligence. If you can, even if you can afford it, engage the banks, because they seem to have a better background check format, even within the bank ecosystem, than an individual. Engage your bank. If you can, mortgage that property, even if you can be able to pay for it 100%. Engage the bank, make all payments through the bank so that you can have records. And as I said, even if you're buying the property cash, engage your bank and tell them you want to finance it so that they can do the background check
for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, in your own view, it is better to go for a mortgage. Even if I have
even if you can afford it.
Yes.
I would advise anyone to go for the mortgage option, because in some mortgage options you can actually pay it off within even a year. Then in some properties nowadays, you're also given the rent to own option, where you live in the house, you are paying rent, but that rent is contributing to paying off the house.
Yes.
So in that aspect, either the rent to own option or the mortgage option, because again, as I said, the financial institutions, and you get a reputable financial institutions. Because again, I know some people who've also lost money to financial institutions, which fell by the wayside.
Yes. And that's very important, because now when we are looking at also mortgage options, we have financial institutions that offer very competitive, even interest rates, and who have they have experience, and through this they are able to actually pick up a scam and be able to tell you. So our viewers, we're not saying that if you have ready cash, do not invest, but what we are saying, or buy that property, what we're trying to bring up is, even if you buy that property, but be cautious, because you never know. Before you give that money and buy that property, can you just have a proper, like he said, Brian has shared how he did everything, all the due diligence. He had an advocate, but it is the bank that picked up that scam. So if it were not for the bank, if he had cash, what would have happened? He would have lost millions. And I'm sure paying 10 million is a lot of money. Even that 20% of 10 million, it's a lot of money. But imagine you now losing that 10 million. How would you even recover? So let's be cautious. Let's be careful out here, and talk to the experts. Come for property consultation and advice. We are free to give it to you. Brian, another thing, maybe just out of this, it's out of this topic. We've had discussions with different people in the industry, even among ourselves. In your own view, would you buy land and construct or buy a ready project?
It depends on the need and also the area, because again, as I said, buying land in Nairobi right now, in areas like Parklands, Upper Hill, Westlands, the property values are way too high for the common mwananchi or even someone in the diaspora who's looking to invest in the country. But in the what you call the peri-urban, Nairobi and its suburbs, you have areas like Kitengela, you have areas like Rongai, you have areas like Limuru and the Kiambu area, you have on Thika Road, you have the Kamulu areas. Those ones have both options in terms of land for sale and also property for sale. When it comes to me, I find the building too much, because I am not a property, I am not a fundi.
Yes.
And managing fundis can be quite the work. Even on our current property where we live, as I said, we bought a property which we needed some things redone. So managing those fundis can become quite a headache. And sometimes you're also engaged in your day-to-day work. So finding the right fundi can be quite a hectic affair. Finding the right people, getting the right costings, because sometimes you find even when you are doing the refinishes of that house, some of the costs went beyond what we expected to spend. So it was quite hectic and quite a headache. I would advise anyone who's looking to buy the land, if they have the time to manage the construction, it will always work out cheaper than buying a ready property which is fully built up. If you can be able to also get somebody maybe who had probably done their house and was unable to finish it, those are also good deals you can get there. But as I said, for me, the fully built up house works out better, because then you're seeing the finishes, you're seeing how the workmanship that went into the construction. You're not being given a story by a fundi who may not be able. And even when you're building, kindly engage the use of professionals. Get an architect to draw for you the plans. Go and make sure that the public planning has approved of those plans at the local government level. Also make sure that you go and engage the use of construction professionals. Go and get the right approvals from the National Construction Authority and such bodies which are government, because you can finish building the house and then you are told it did not have the right approvals. So it becomes a very expensive affair. But when you buy in such assets like the one you're selling at Serene, I believe with all due diligence done by, as I said, hopefully by your bank, then they will realize that all the necessary approvals were given, that the houses were constructed according to the safety guidelines that are offered by the National Construction Authority, that the banks will use their lawyer to do the background check and also check that that house is not charged to any loan or sold to any other individual.
Yes. Lastly, as we wrap up, for the diaspora, because we also know that we have diaspora viewers who are watching us today. Some of them would like to invest in Kenya, but they're afraid of this scamming. What would you advise them if they want to buy property? Because we've seen also aspects of them being scammed with their own relatives, their own immediate family. But this is someone who has seen property and they want to invest in. So how would you advise them? Talk to them.
I would advise anyone in the diaspora looking to invest back home. There are very many opportunities for investment here. And when it comes to the real estate marketplace in the Kenya, it is lucrative, but sometimes you can get into pitfalls. All I would advise is that they come, if they are able to come and see, they should come and see the property, have a look at it, have a feel of the environment, depending on what they want to invest for. Some want to invest for investment where they will rent out the property. Depending on that, they should also do a background check on the area and see what kind of rent they are looking to achieve. Because again, you can't build a property in Kamulu and expect 100,000 in terms of rent, however big the property is. But if you buy in an area like Parklands or Westlands, then you can get that you're buying a 2-bedroom house for the same value as you're buying a house in Kamulu, which will be getting you the rental income to now probably go into paying off the property or also investing in your future home if you come back into the country. So depending, if they are looking to invest, they should invest in properties that can fetch them reasonable rents in good areas, but also with proper finishes, because again, the marketplace is flooded with a lot of houses which are of good value but need also a lot of maintenance. Some of the service charges in some of the areas can be exorbitant. So I would just encourage them, if you're looking to build a home for yourself, go to the peri-urban areas. That's where you have a lot of, you can get land, you can get, you can even do, for the same value as you would a 2-bedroom house in Parklands, you can be able to get a property in Syokimau, Kitengelas, and the peri-urban areas of Nairobi. But if you're looking to invest, I would advise them to invest probably closer to the town, where they have, even if it is an apartment, you can get better rental income from your investment.
Thank you so much, Brian, for being so vulnerable and honest with us today. I'm sure your story is going to help so many people who have been helpless, who feel so down that they have lost or they have been scammed in the property market.
Yes.
Yeah. And this wraps up our conversation for today. I'm so sure that this episode has been so informative. And for anyone who has been scammed out there before, just know it's not the end of the road for you, that there's hope and you can rise again. I have been your host, Lorraine Ashimosi, and my co-host has been
Stella Mwaniki.
And thank you so much for watching. And look forward to our next episode. We are going to cover land and what to do and what to look for before you buy that land. Thank you and see you next time.